So, yesterday was the anniversary of the release of two different World of Warcraft expansions, Wrath of the Lich King and Warlords of Draenor. When someone mentioned it on Twitter, I initially responded that people would probably remember one rather more fondly than the other. So when it comes to comparing Wrath of the Lich King and Warlords of Draenor, many would see it as a complete mismatch. Given that most current WoW players began in Wrath or later, Wrath of the Lich King is often cited as people's favourite expansion and Warlords of Draenor as people's least favourite. Certainly Wrath had the greatest number of concurrent subscribers and Warlords of Draenor the least of all expansions so far. Not that we'll ever be able to compare expansions from Legion onwards in that regard at any rate, as subscriber figures are no longer published. But as it's the anniversary of the launch, or, well, it was yesterday, I didn't realise, what were they like for someone who remembers them both? Well, I remember spending some time getting to level cap. I had to fit it around work. Expansions have never launched on a date when I have time off work, so I always lag a little bit behind the curve in my raid guilds. However, upon getting to cap, I completed all the content really quickly, and within a couple of weeks I'd basically only got achievements left to do. It was all rather disappointing. Oh, sorry, what's that? Oh, you think I'm talking about Warlords of Draenor? No, this was actually Wrath of the Lich King. You can see from my timestamps here that I reached level 80 on 21st of November, 8 days after launch. It took a lot longer to level back then, or it did for me, I'm not entirely sure why. Then I completed each of the raid bosses in the first tier of the expansion within 4 days after that. Then I completed the dungeons, I suppose, in no particular hurry after that. Why would I need dungeon gear when we were farming raid bosses much more easily? It has to be the only expansion where you were ever able to complete all the raid content before the dungeon content. Warlords of Draenor, on the other hand, had 3 difficulties of dungeon initially, and 4 difficulties of the raid. As such, the first tier took a couple of months, not counting achievements, much more than a few days. That's the sort of time you'd expect the very top guilds in the world to be taking. So if Warlords of Draenor actually had more to do than Wrath at launch, why was the latter considered the best expansion and the former considered the worst? Well, after the launch of Warlords of Draenor, we didn't really get anything else. More was planned, but Blizzard quickly decided that it was never going to be enough, and so abandoned the project in order to make sure that the following expansion, Legion, hit the ground running and never stopped. In Wrath, on the other hand, you got Ulduar next, which was not only a visually spectacular raid environment, but also one where a hard mode was introduced. They also continued to add in world content at various points during the expansion, as well as brand new dungeons, not just retuned versions of the ones that existed at launch. So was the great feature of Wrath that it introduced new content, both solo as well as group, throughout the expansion, or was it something else? I'm not sure myself, as I left the game for a while before Ulduar even came out to change my mind about the expansion. An example, I suppose, of how easy it is to lose a customer if you ever stand still in any competitive market. And also perhaps the reason why Blizzard are currently wanting us to be very aware that whatever content we have now is just the tip of the iceberg, and with more coming thick and fast in Legion. So what are your memories of Warlords of Draenor and Wrath launch? Do your experiences tally with mine, or was Wrath actually better from your point of view, even from the very start? Comments below as usual, and if you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share as always. And until next time, I'll see you later.